Greetings, cleansers. My name is Inga Jacobs and my company is called Wishing Wellness, and we are going to be reviewing the 4-week cleanse that we are getting ready to begin. We have a pre-week cleanse that's preparing for the cleanse. That's Thursday, December 27th through Wednesday, January 2nd. So during this time, what we are trying to do is get our pH high enough so that our body is in an alkaline state for cleansing. In order to do this, we're going to let go of all of our addictions to the best of our abilities. So alcohol, caffeine, nicotine, sugar, white flour, all of that. And you're going to start replacing all of that with the foods on the food list that are listed in your cleanse guide. So you want to be consuming only those foods on the food list and letting go of your addictions as best as possible. And in your cleanse packets, you have pH testing papers. So before the actual cleanse starts, we're going to be doing urine testing. So you're going to follow the instructions. It's just a little small white envelope that's inside of, actually I put it inside of your cleanse jars. So open that up and there's a little table that has the pH color readings and 25 little rectangular test strips. So you're going to follow the instructions in the cleanse guide and you're going to start monitoring where your pH levels are. Now, the cleanse guide also has the pH tables. You want to make sure that you're approximately 7 with the urine testing to be ready to cleanse. Now, if you're far from that, we should talk, because what you want to do is really do a lot to boost the alkalinity in your body so that your pH level goes up. And I can work with you on this. So as soon as you can, that's one of the things that you want to do, just right out the gate, is go ahead and do a urine pH test and see where you're at. If you're far from 7 in the tables in the cleanse guide, contact me and I can help you. But you're going to help yourself by letting go of all those addictions and starting to eat those foods, because that's what's going to boost your alkalinity. So pre-cleanse is all about getting and transitioning and being ready to cleanse. Then we have 2 solid weeks of the actual cleanse. The first week is Thursday, January 3rd through Wednesday, January 9th. During this week, we're going to be in a more of a mild cleansing phase. You'll be consuming your shakes and your herbal nutrition and chompers, and you'll be having 2 meals a day according to a schedule. So you want to stay on your schedule. The schedules are in the cleanse guide under the 14-day cleanse. That is what we're doing. We're doing the 14-day cleanse. We'll move on after that to the second level of the cleanse during the 3rd week of this whole process, cleanse week 2, and that's Thursday, January 10th through Wednesday, January 16th. Now, if you did well in week 1 and your pH is high enough, during the cleanse, we're not going to use urine pH testing. We're going to use lemon juice pH testing. We'll go over all of this more. But if your pH is solid and you're doing well and you're not having too many extreme cleanse reactions and you feel solid, then we'll move on to phase 2, which happens, if it's going to happen, in week 2 of the actual cleanse. So here we will continue to be on a schedule every hour and a half. On the hour and a half, you'll be consuming your shakes and your herbs and chompers with 1 meal a day during this time. So if you're ready to transition, you'll go to that deeper level. And there's an even slightly deeper level that we can go to at the very end of that week if you're doing really well and you want to, and we're not even going to talk about that right now. We'll see how everyone is, and we'll talk about all that later. After the 2nd week of the actual cleanse, so now we're ending week 3 of this process, we're going to go into the last week, which is the post-cleanse week. That week is Thursday, January 17th through Wednesday, January 23rd. And during this week, we're going to be transitioning away from the chompers and the herbal nutrition and the shakes. We're still going to be eating from the food list, and we're just going to transition our bodies back into our normal way of eating, or a different way of eating if we've chosen to as a result of this process. So those are the dates, and that's the general idea of what we're going to be doing during this next 4-week cycle. I'm hoping by now that everyone has read through the cleanse guide. It is very user-friendly. It's very simple and straightforward. It's not overwhelming, and it's not this 50-page manual. It's very succinct, and it really gives you a lot of information for you to go on this journey. And of course, I'm always here for everything that you need. read through the cleanse guide if you haven't already, and spend, a few minutes reading it and kind of absorbing it so that you get your arms around what we're doing. So that also you have questions to ask me. And you don't have to wait for these online meetings to ask me questions. I'm available all the time via text first. Text is the best way, and then a phone call if we need to talk on the phone from that point. If you want to have fun with it, even though it's not a primary driver of this process, go ahead and weigh yourself before we start, because if you need to lose some weight, you definitely will be losing weight. Some people don't really need to lose weight, and that might not be the case for them, but it's a fun thing just to kind of see what happens. It's 4 weeks of amazing, healthy journey, and if you do have the weight to lose, it's going to be coming off. So if you want to weigh yourself, make some notes now before you start. Now, juicing is a large part of this cleanse. I don't want that to overwhelm you. If you, if you have the wherewithal and it's something that you do and you like to go buy those fruits and vegetables and you have a juicer and you like to do your own juicing, that's awesome, because juicing is very alkaline and it really promotes a lot of this cleanse to do what it needs to do. Now, if that overwhelms you or you don't have the time, maybe you don't have a juicer, you can also buy fresh pressed juice. But you do want to have a variety of vegetable and fruit juices available for you to consume throughout the cycle of this cleanse. It's really good for you anyway. So when you do your grocery shopping, if you're not going to be juicing on your own, just go ahead and pick up several bottles of vegetable and fruit juice so that you have them on hand when you need them. And it'll take you a long way on this alkaline journey. In your cleansing packet, you have all of the cleansing products that you need for this whole entire journey. Now, we're not doing any of these cleanse products in the first week. That's just, we're getting ready to do the cleanse products. So don't worry about that for the first week. We're not starting any of the cleanse products until the beginning of our second week of this journey. So in your cleanse packets, you have your chompers and herbal nutrition. Now, one thing to note about this is that you're always going to take the same amount of each one, and you always take them at the same time. So now we're going to start out with 3 of each, and this is just for you to kind of get your arms around how this is going to be working. We're not doing this in this first week. I'm just explaining things to you so you get your thoughts going on it. We're going to start with taking 3 of each, but you might have cleansing reactions because maybe your system is going to go faster through this process. Maybe it's going to go slower. You might get constipated. You might have diarrhea a little bit. So if you are having loose stools, we're going to decrease the herbal nutrition in the chompers 1 each at a time. It's a slow process. So you don't add a whole bunch and you don't take a whole bunch away. You do things 1 at a time. And then you see what that did and how you're doing at that point. If you are constipated, we might increase by 1 each. So and I can help you with all of that as you go through if you start to have a little bit of a cleansing reaction, which is totally normal. You also have in your packet, you have your clay. This is powdered clay, and you have your psyllium husk. These 2 go together to make your shakes. Now, I've given you one of these shaker bottles. By the way, the pH strips are in here. I just also threw an herbal tea in there, but your pH strips are in here. This is what you want to do in the first couple of days of this first week to kind of see where your pH is. So here's your shaker bottle. You want to put, this is a 10 ounce, this really doesn't look like 10 ounces, but anyway, you want to take your shakes with 10 ounces of liquid, at least half of which must be water. So you have the option, because really the shakes they're not, they taste a little bit like earthy because they're made of clay and psyllium fiber. So they're not the most, exciting tasting things. So you have the option of putting half of the liquid, so 4 or 5 ounces, as fruit or vegetable juice. That's totally fine. Don't worry about any of that. If that tastes better that way and you like it better that way, then do that. Always put the water in first, not filling, but just maybe half of it, and then add the clay, because the clay is powdered. And if you put the clay on the bottom of the jar before you add the water, it's going to stick like a clump down there, and it's going to be really hard to work with, because it's already hard to work with a little bit. Clay is clay. As soon as you put water in it, kind of gets sticky. So you want to put a little bit of water in there, your little bit of your juice, then add the clay and psyllium fiber, fill it the rest up with whatever liquid of choice, and then you want to shake it really hard. Now, if you have a blender, and sometimes you can use that, it works way better in a blender. because just shaking it, is difficult. So as far as getting it all to be blended, so shake it hard and drink it, all of it right away. Don't wait a minute. Don't sip it. Just drink it all right away. Wait a minute or two, and then drink another whole glass of 10 ounces of water. So that's a process. When you're on schedule, on your cleanse schedule, you're going to be doing that several times a day. So drink it all, wait a minute, and then 10 more ounces of water, drink it all. Okay? So you want to get it taken care of. You also have Flora Grow. Flora Grow is the probiotics that you're going to be planting into your colon to help you out with this whole process. So this is on the schedule. Everything is on the schedule. I'm just kind of reviewing the products with you so you're familiar with them. Now, medications. If you are taking medication, don't stop taking your medication. Never take your medication during a time where you're consuming a shake. Always take them at least 45 minutes to an hour away from a shake. And do this with supplements also. Don't stop taking your supplements. Just keep them away from the shakes. And the reason why is because the shakes are made with clay. Clay is designed in this process to absorb the toxins, but it'll also absorb everything. So if you're taking medication that your body needs and you're taking it at the same time you take a shake, the clay is going to absorb some of the medication. So you don't want to do that. So don't stop taking your supplements. Don't stop taking your medication. That's for your doctor to decide. Just take them 45 minutes to an hour separate from any shake rounds that you have on the cleanse. Also, if you're taking any probiotics during this time, just if you would, and if you have an issue with this, just let's talk. But stay away from all the probiotics that you're taking during this 4 weeks. Just stick with the probiotics from the cleanse. It's designed for a very specific purpose, and just let your other probiotics go. But other than that, medication and supplements, they're good to go. Just keep them away from the shakes. Want to talk about snacking for a minute now. Snacks are fine. There's nothing wrong with snacking. And I would consider when you're drinking juice, vegetable, or fruit juice, or combinations, even though it'd be nice to keep the fruits separate from the vegetable juice, but don't worry about it if you like them combined. Consider juices a snack also, that they're fine. Just keep them away from your herb sets. So when you take your chompers and your herbal nutrition, just make sure that if you're going to snack about 20 or so minutes away from your herbs. And just know that snacking slows down the cleansing process. Maybe if you're having some cleansing reactions where you have loose stools, we want to slow down the cleansing process. So you might want to snack. So we'll work on all of that. But just snack if you need to, if you're really, struggling. Apples, oranges, pieces of fruit, a couple of, a little handful of nuts, that kind of thing. Those are great snacks. Snack if you need to, but not if you don't need to, because they will slow down the cleansing process. And if you're not having any cleansing reactions, there's no need to slow it down. But if you're struggling, snacking is okay. And juices are considered snacks too. Okay, I just want you guys to know this is all, we just do the best that we can. And some days the best that we can is different than others. So honor your body and just be gentle with yourself through this process. Do the best you can, and it's going to be good enough. While we're cleansing, let's talk about exercise a little bit. Now, mild exercise, yoga, stretching, all of that is awesome. Walking. Now, if you don't already have serious exercise in your day-to-day life, you might not feel like any serious exercise while you're cleansing. You're probably not going to want to do any really intense weight-bearing exercises or extreme cardiovascular fitness. You probably won't even feel like it, but I don't recommend it anyway. It's going to detract a little bit, but from the whole cleansing process. If you feel really good and you want to exercise, it is really good for you to do mild exercise and just part of your daily routine. But like I said, I don't think you're going to really feel like doing strenuous exercise anyway while you're cleansing. Your body's going to be dumping, organs are going to be cleansing, your intestines are going to be getting stripped out. So exercise is good. Just avoid strenuous and intense weight-bearing stuff. But otherwise, enjoy daily exercise. It's really good for you on this, especially sweating. Get some sweating in. That's really good. All of this stuff is detoxifying, so enjoy that. I want to talk a little bit about enemas. Now, enemas are part of this cleansing process. I don't want to scare you off, though. Some people may not have ever even done an enema before, and that's fine. Now, If you really have an aversion to it and you're not willing to try doing enemas, don't worry about that, okay? Just let it go. But I encourage you to consider it. And I also encourage you to do them regularly when we're in the 2 weeks of the actual cleanse. When you hydrate the colon with the enema, it helps to flush out the toxins. Also, and it really helps to flush out the toxins. Now, if you're having a cleansing reaction, I'm going to highly recommend, and you're not going to have extreme reactions. You might have loose stools. You might get constipated. This is what I'm talking about, cleansing. Maybe just a little lethargic as the organs are dumping out their toxins, a little lightheaded. A lot of times during the cleansing process, you feel kind of an altered state, which is actually a really beautiful state. So it's a very happy space. If you're having a cleansing reaction, I'm going to highly recommend that you do enemas. So consider it, and let's talk about it if you want to talk more. I will be doing 2 enemas a day. My schedule would be more to do one in the morning when I'm waking up and getting ready, and then to do one before I go to bed. And it's just going to be part of my routine. I know how much it helps, and it's just going to help get those toxins out of you instead of kind of possibly just some subtle reabsorbing back into the colon walls and all of that. But if you really have a strong aversion and you don't have any cleansing reactions, it's not a pressure. Just open your mind, think about it, and if you want to talk more about it, just let me know, okay? So, could be interesting. You might actually enjoy them. And the perfect segue from enemas are bowel movements. Now, on this cleanse, what we're going to work to obtain are 3 to 5 bowel movements a day, which are going to be just formed yet soft. So 3 to 5 bowel movements a day, that's a lot. If you're not, after I would say 2 to 3 days into the actual cleanse, if that's not what you're experiencing, we're going to want to help you to experience that. So we're going to keep adjusting your herbal nutrition and chompers until you have achieved 3 to 5 bowel movements a day on a consistent basis. So if you're having any issues with that, enemas help that. But also the herbal nutrition and the chompers do too. So there's more ways than one to skin a cat if we want to. So 3 to 5 a day after 2 days or so of the cleanse. If you're not experiencing that, let me know, and we can work together to get you to that place. Let's talk a little bit about food. Now, when you look at I want you to spend some time studying the food list, and in the cleanse guide, it's very succinct. I actually emailed you the food list a few days ago too, just so that you can start looking at it and getting your arms around it. Now, with the seeds and the nuts, it's nice to soak them overnight, and there's reasons to do this. One of the reasons is it softens the seeds and the nuts and makes them more easily digestible, but it also starts the germination process. There's more enzymes and more nutritional value in that too. Now, we do the best we can. If you are in a hurry and the only thing that you can grab is some raw trail mix, then we do the best we can. But when you do have the option and the wherewithal, soak your seeds and nuts, and it'll just add that extra, assistance to the system to make things, we want everything to be as easily digestible as possible, nothing getting stuck in the process or taking too much time, because we're shedding it all out and we're getting it all out of us. Same thing with, you'll also see in the cleanse guide, there's a whole list of what not to eat. It's all basically, the difference is alkaline foods versus acidic foods. And that's what you're moving away from, all the acidic foods. Salt, even Himalayan sea salt, is acidic. And in one of the recipes I have to use a little bit of Bragg's liquid aminos. That is a similar thing to soy sauce, except for it's like the healthier version of soy sauce that has salt in it. So that recipe is me doing the best that I can. And I don't recommend you use soy sauce for anything. And avoid salt. If you have to have a little bit of salt, just use a little bit of sea salt and try to minimize it, because it is acidic. So we're doing the best we can. Sometimes it's hard when we're going to a whole palette of food that doesn't have any sea salt in it, when we're used to our whole lives eating food that's seasoned that way. So play with it, see what can work, and if you have to, just use a little bit of sea salt, and if you are not that attached to it, just let it go. The last thing I want to talk about is food. So as far as recipes go, I don't want you guys to get overwhelmed with, having to create all these recipes and do all these different things, and you don't have time and you're cooking all the time. So there's a lot of ways to make this process easier. And the way I do it is called batch cooking, where I gather all the food that I'm going to be cooking with, and I go in the kitchen for 2, 3, 4 hours, depending on how many meals I'm making. I would say, a couple meals might take a couple of hours, and I just did 4 meals. It took probably 4 hours, but it was 4 meals that feed 2 people for a whole week. It's really worthy to do this process to ease your life so that you're not always in the kitchen cooking. So then you just stack them all in the freezer, you keep a couple in the refrigerator in sealed containers, and you grab and go. So that I've included 4 recipes that are batch cooking recipes in the email that I sent you. And if you're interested in something like that, and you want to follow one of those, follow 2 of those, and it'll make your lives a lot easier. Also, the cleanse products that we're using, it's a company called Arise and Shine. I've been working with them for 15 years. It's the cleanest, most beautiful cleanse that I've ever experienced. On their website, ariseandshine.com, under resources, they have tons of recipes. Now, you don't have to worry, is this recipe under the cleanse or not? Because all of the recipes are part of the cleanse. So you could pick any recipe that you wanted if you're a recipe type of person. Some people don't like recipes at all. They'll just make a big batch of quinoa, a bunch of steamed vegetables, some sliced avocados, throw some olive oil on it, and they're done. So it depends on, if you like to do your own thing. Do you like to follow a recipe, or do you want to make like a batch cooking type of recipe? All of those things are great options, and just do what resonates with you. But make your life easy. Figure out how things are going to work for you. There's also a lot of grab and go stuff where you get fresh pressed juices, you get raw trail mix, lots of fruit, veggie sticks with guacamole. You can have a lot of things around you that are grab and go to make your life easy. So that when you're busy, or if you didn't have time to cook, you still have everything covered. So talk to me if you want to know more about this. There's 4 batch cooking recipes in my email. The Rise and Shine website has a ton of stuff, and you can make up your own. So have fun with it. Welcome. Let's go on the ride. 4 weeks from now, you guys are going to be different people, and it touches my soul that you're doing this journey, and I'm so excited to be working with you all. I will talk to you next week on the video conference, which is next Wednesday. The date on that is January 2nd. Wow. That's the day after New Year's. So it'll be in the evening at 7 o'clock. If you can't make it, again, there will be another recording of everything that's discussed. So don't worry about that either. Also, texting me, as I said earlier, that's the first point of contact with me. And then if we need to have a phone call, we will. Okay, so let's have you fully supported on this journey and enjoy the ride. Namaste.